LACMA, for those of you who don't know, is the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. And they have a new exhibition that just opened up. They have a new wing and while it is beautifully sourced, the new David Geffen Galleries is yet another clear-cut example of the limitations of brutalist architecture, but also the advantages that it has. So ironically enough, the David Geffen Galleries I had been to for the Vanity Fair Oscars after party. Didn't even realize that I was inside of the David Geffen Galleries when I did that. This was before it was open to the public, but it's open to the public now. The architecture is beautiful, and I think like part of the reason why they're going heavily into brutalism is because the way that light hits the exhibit is important. It changes the experience. It's beautifully sourced. It's supposed to be this like open space. You're walking through, you're going on a journey, learning about how art and culture through conquest, colonialism, commerce, mercantilism has regularly cross-pollinated, right? The ancient Mayans had rubber that was that they got from Peru, right? Like these ancient civilizations were far more advanced than we give them credit, and their cultures were far more integrated than we previously assumed, right? And I think that obviously still very much exists in the advent of the internet. It's maybe even it's turned into this like weird, dare I say, heinous monoculture, and capitalism has played a formative role in this. One of the things that I saw was that in South America, because we first get into the exhibition and there's like a lot of the craftsmanship from all around the world, like ancient Chinese vases and plates and things like that are delicately crafted, were then brought to Latin America, right? They were brought to South America, and it was it's very interesting to see that, like, there's they have these panels, these like Japanese panels, all this like tapestry, all this stuff, and it's really interesting to see the old school European colonists take their artifacts and bring them to South America, right? And then they merge it with like their own perspective on indigenous cultures and things like that. But beyond that, what I found particularly interesting was how much drip and swag people had in the old school, in the old world, whether it be ancient Mayan civilization or even like Spanish conquistadors. Like, they put a lot of time and a lot of effort into the little knickknacks that they carried everywhere with them. Obviously, it was a display of their wealth. There's that period of craftsmanship that comes in the aftermath of the Industrial Revolution as a reaction to the Industrial Revolution, where people were like, no, handcrafted things are still important. And they obviously tried to bring that back. They tried to, force that as another symbol of your status. And yet it's clear that capitalism won. Okay. Capitalism won. And it has had this nullifying effect on art, artistic expression, or at least in the way that we see it in the things that we use in our everyday existence. We don't have these crazy chairs, for example. Obviously, like, part of that is great because it's like far more comfortable now. It's interesting to see that flatness, that dullness in contemporary existence, as opposed to like how people, like even the wealthiest people, like the modern day equivalent of a you know, Spanish colonialist with a tremendous amount of wealth over and tremendous amount of power over like entire swaths of the population would be someone like Dana White. Okay, you go to Dana White's home and you look at the art that he has in his home, and it's a Kalashnikov rifle that's like inside of an epoxy case, and he's sitting there and explaining to you like, oh well, you know, this is a piece of our war. Like, it's disgusting, it's gross. There's not a lot of thought or effort put into any of this. Like the wealthiest individuals in society have no need or no taste or no investment in even showing that they have taste. I think we are degenerating a little bit. It's just something that I thought about. It's just something that I've been thinking about. But also, you know, highly recommend you guys go and look at the exhibit. One of the things that I was annoyed by, for the record, was that it was more like there was more effort spent on writing about writing about the rich people that kindly and generously gifted these pieces to the LACMA, and less about the pieces and their significance. Now, one might say, oh, that's deliberate. It's because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You're supposed to interpret it. It's subjective. No, it was mind-boggling. You would look at, I found myself constantly being like, I wonder what this is about, right? Like, what is the historical significance of this piece of art that I'm looking at? And it's ironic that the placard on the side would just say the name of the artist, say the year that this art, this piece was made, and then 75% of the placard was about the wealthy guy who generously gifted this piece of art. And it's like, all right, man, we get it. Like, glaze is good, but put another fucking placard next to it that also explains the, you know, the intention or the historic significance or like what the artist was trying to put out there. LACMA is trash. Autry has better art and exhibits. First of all, cool on that. Chill on that. No museum is trash. All museums are beautiful, okay? It's like saying a library is trash. You're never going to get me to shit talk a library. You're never going to get me to shit talk a museum, okay? These are the last bastions of this is the last bastion of defense to maintain an understanding of artistic expression, the journey that it's taken throughout history. These are some of the bravest fedayeen out there, okay? In a time and space that we live in where no one gives a fuck about art at all, whether it be art history or whether it be contemporary art, it's very important to maintain these libraries and of course museums as well. You know, it's interesting. It was an interesting experience. A lot of HasanAbi heads at the exhibition. A lot of HasanAbi heads working at the LACMA. I like that they mentioned that it's earthquake proof. It spans over the Wilshire, which I think is really cool. It's interesting, right? My one autistic criticism of the LACMA is that I feel like there's no harmony with any of the other buildings, and I kind of get annoyed by that, but that's just me. Like, everything that they build out is piece by piece. It's so piecemeal. I wish that without relying on historic patrons of the art, which are always the super wealthy, we could have this be publicly funded and spend a great deal of time, money, and effort to preserve this stuff and make it as accessible as possible. So you don't have to spend $25 on parking.